In the next couple of hours here at the DMEXCO 2021, on the blue stage, we'll be focusing on e-commerce, consumers, and agencies, and we're going to head over to a fireside chat with Ms. Masha Dreesen. She is Regional Vice President, Continental Europe, Microsoft Advertising. Then we also have Marc Opelt, Chairman of the OTTO Management Board and Management Board for Marketing, and also Alex Sherman from PromoteIQ. He's the CEO, and we look forward to hearing their insights on the topic of trusted partnerships in future commerce strategies, and that is coming up right now.
Welcome to our DMEXCO audience. So my name is Masha Dreesen, and I will be the moderator of what I expect to be a very interesting discussion today. So looking at the lockdown and the simultaneous increase in online retail, that has significantly shifted the advertising budget of companies. So in a recent survey conducted by der Organisation Werbungtreibenden in Markenverband, 4 out of 5 companies that participated in that survey actually stated that they had made changes in the way they allocated their campaign budgets. So classic media, sponsoring, and out of home, they suffered in particular. But on the other hand, social media and retail media have benefited from the shift in focus to online retail. So ad spending on retail media networks jumped 55% year over year in Q2 and even 61% in June. So with advertising pushing to create a more direct path to purchase, retail media spend will likely eclipse those highs later even this year. So today, I'm talking to Marc Opelt, CEO of OTTO, and Alex Sherman, CEO of PromoteIQ, that has been acquired by Microsoft 2 years ago, about retail media. So what it is and why it matters to you. So we will mainly speak about retail media on the PromoteIQ platform and how it helped OTTO become more competitive in the retail landscape. So welcome, gentlemen.
Welcome.
So let me start with my first question. Can you introduce yourself and share with our audience today the best or worst product you've bought during the lockdown, just using a few words? Alex, would you mind starting?
Yeah, sure. Great to be here. So my name's Alex Sherman. I lead the PromoteIQ business at Microsoft. We are a SaaS platform that helps large retailers launch and scale their retail media businesses. We've worked with OTTO for a few years now, and we have a terrific partnership. So I'm super excited to be here with both of you. In terms of my lockdown purchase, I'll be honest, my online shopping is a little out of control these days. But my probably both best and worst purchase is rubber chew toys for my German Shepherd, which are now just littered across my my apartment in New York.
Oh, that's so cute. Thanks for sharing, Alex. Marc, over to you.
Yeah, thank you very much for having me. My name is Marc Opelt. I'm the CEO of OTTO.de, and I'm responsible here for all the communication for marketing, for e-commerce, but foremost for the transformation of OTTO. And if you ask me what was really a bad buying decision during COVID, I tried to install like the best state-of-the-art home office, and I also bought some microphones, and to have a perfect installation for a podcast. But it wasn't. So after 1 hour of very exciting podcast, it turned out that those microphones couldn't communicate to one another. So we had to do it again. So that was really the worst buying act during COVID.
Wow, thanks. At least we can hear you now loud and clear. Thanks for sharing, Marc. And of course, I need to share mine too very briefly. With the lockdown, with the work from home, I've been buying so many sneakers that I can wear sneakers the rest of my life because they're so comfortable. So that's it. I will stop there. Women and shoes, right? So let me ask a little bit more about OTTO. So Marc, with changing its business model from online retailer to e-commerce platform, OTTO is going through a significant transformation. Can you tell us a bit more about the evolution of the company?
Yes, sure. I think that OTTO is an older company, but we had to transform our business model several times. So going from a traditional mail order company to an e-commerce a company, but that is not enough in nowadays. So now we transform our business model from a e-commerce company into a platform model, which consists basically out of three different business models. And that's where we are today in the midst of this huge transformation.
Thanks, Mark. Seems like indeed it's huge. So OTTO clearly has made a lot of progress, and to my mind, it's also been very quickly. So do you have any thoughts you could share on strategic trade-offs a retailer like you has to make in building out their own tech? So this is about a question on when do you build and when do you buy? Mark, can we go with you first before we go to Alex?
Yeah, probably it's not only a classical make or buy decision. First of all, probably you have to ask yourself what is really a core part of your profit functions, of your value chain. Second question is probably is there anything available? I mean, if you build an online store or an app where you sell millions of products, there is nobody out there who actually can create this piece of software for you. Then, of course, it's time and budget. And in some of the cases, you want to try out stuff really fast. You want to fail fast or succeed fast. And this is where especially a good external software products comes into the arena. And in the most of the cases, my experience is to go fast, is to buy a piece of software in this case and try it out.
Thanks, makes a lot of sense, and probably sounds very familiar to our audience today. So Alex, can you shine a light on this?
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything that Mark said. I think it's sort of a common phrase that every company is becoming a software company today, and I think retailers in particular are transitioning from sort of their past as sales channels into something which much more closely resembles a platform. Exactly what sort of Mark was highlighting. And so, I think no matter what, every retailer needs a robust engineering organization, and every company needs a robust engineering organization that can build sort of technologies that move the business forward. But since you obviously can't build everything, the question is, what do you build, and which componentry do you buy or do you partner with? And in the retail media space in particular, clearly, you don't want to be focusing your scarce resources on reinventing the wheel or sort of building commodity components that don't actually differentiate your business. You want to be focusing those engineering and technical teams on areas of unique strategic value. And so, ultimately, that's kind of what we seek to unlock for retailers by kind of providing a foundational operating system for retail media, but that enables retailers to build on top of that and sort of focus their teams on customization, strategic components, proprietary IP, that sort of thing.
Thanks, Alex. Yeah, it seems very, very tailored, and I'm sure it's very helpful for everyone on this fireside chat to listen to this. So Alex, to stay with you, from a PromoteIQ perspective, what are your views on the evolution of e-commerce, and of course also the opportunity it represents for retailers?
Yeah, I mean, we're in sort of a special moment in time in terms of the e-commerce trajectory, right? Like, adoption has doubled over the last year. I think our CEO Satya Masha put it simply as 10 years of digital transformation in 3 months, which now, sort of looking back at when he said that, there's been sort of even more acceleration since then. But I think it's clear for OTTO and for Mark, as well as for PromoteIQ and Microsoft, that product discovery now happens online by and large. And I think one of the most significant changes over the last year or so is that millions of shoppers that had never ordered anything online are now just fully ramped as online shoppers. And so for retail media, the implications are really significant, right? I think for OTTO and for most retailers, retail media is no longer this like nice to have business. Now it's something that can ultimately drive 20 to 50% of your operating income as a business overall. And so it's become this very critical and strategic pillar. And we think of it as a core component in sort of this new e-commerce operating model.
Yeah, well, I think you have lots of attention now with the numbers that you called out. So speaking about the partnership that you have with OTTO, can you tell us about this partnership to share with the audience?
Yeah. So I think the relationship began a few years ago when OTTO approached us and explained their ambition for building a very large and sophisticated retail media program. And as Marc has mentioned, I think from day one, it was clear that the OTTO team had a really strong point of view on the right way and the wrong way to build a retail media program, which, that's something that we just love to hear from our customers because that's what we're fundamentally built for. I remember in those early conversations, OTTO wanted to make sure that the program leveraged their first party data, their proprietary backend systems, and ultimately their brand-facing portals that they were sort of investing all of these resources in building out. And so what we ultimately did was we provided OTTO with sort of a foundational retail media program that they could customize and adapt to their needs, while, to Marc's point, enabling a very rapid launch, very rapid scale, and kind of avoiding the slowdown that would come from rebuilding some of the more commodity components. And so, today the program is doing really well. It's one of the market leaders in Europe. They're pioneering the use of first-party data and first-party systems instead of just using an off-the-shelf ad network. And so, I think the OTTO team's perspective matters a lot more than mine. But I think, safe to say it's one of the leading programs in the space, and we're just getting started.
So, Marc, retail media is one of your 3 pillars. So how did you make sure it contributes to your business goals and also that it fits into your wider strategy?
Well, as I mentioned before, we rebuilt OTTO from a traditional e-commerce company now to a platform. One function is a classical retailer, so your margin business. Second revenue stream is the platform, the marketplace, where you enable others to do their business on your platform. And the third pillar is retail media. So what you have to do is you have to make your business model fly. If you think of our business model as a infinite sign or a laying 8, or you can call it flywheel, you would have on the left side, you would have the consumer side, and on the right side, you would have the partner side. So the more frequency, the more traffic, the more reach you bring on the left side, the more attractive you are for your partner side. And then it goes on like this: the more products, the more services your partners bring to the party, the more attractive you are for the left side. So it starts to accelerate it within itself. So, but also you can give, and here comes retail media into the game, you can give your partners a great tool to push their business, to increase their business with advertising. And I think what we see here is that the dollars and the budget goes where the eyeballs are, where the attention is, where the awareness is. And this is exactly what retail media does. It gives your partner the chance to push their business. And this is why it's not only commerce and marketplace, but it's also retail media.
Makes a lot of sense. And I think our audience, this resonates a lot with our audience here today. So thank you, Marc, on sharing that. So Alex, how can PromoteIQ with Microsoft give leading retailers like OTTO a competitive advantage in the market because there's more out there, right? So can you explain?
Yeah, I think that the sort of key point here is that flywheel that Marc mentioned a few moments ago. Our sort of position at PromoteIQ is that retail media has fundamentally shifted the e-commerce business model, and the retailers that are able to sort of effectively leverage high margin revenue streams like retail media are the ones that will ultimately be able to invest a lot more in their digital transformation, in digital innovation projects than some of the other retailers that are still sort of stuck operating on 1% gross margins. And so at PromoteIQ, our objective is to provide retailers like OTTO with the most powerful and comprehensive retail media operating system that they can use to do exactly that, to launch and scale a retail media program in a way that aligns with their proprietary flywheel and kind of the virtuous cycle that Marc was referring to. And if we can do that effectively, then OTTO in turn will be able to sort of use retail media as a core driver of profitability and ultimately translate that into business growth.
Thanks, Alex. And I think that flywheel also brings us to actually my last question that I wanted to ask you. And let me start with you, Marc. What is it that the audience of today should walk away with after this session, if you could name one thing?
Well, I think start the transformation. Just start it, because I think in our industry a lot of companies and brands have to rebuild their business, have to transform their business, and the start is always the hardest part. Once you're on your way, you collect insights, you collect speed, you collect capabilities. Just start.
Thank you. I think that's very clear. Alex.
Yeah, I would say that the retailers that win in this space are the ones that actually invest in building differentiated programs. This is really not just about putting ads on retail websites. I think that's the easy part, and anyone can do that. It's relatively straightforward. The hard part is actually figuring out, how will you differentiate? How will you separate your program from the rest of the pack? And that, I think, over the next 12 to 18 months is where we're going to see sort of the winners separate from the rest of the retail pack. And so, obviously we'll be watching that closely.
Thank you, Alex. And with that brings us to the end already of this fireside chat. I'd like to thank Marc Opelt and Alex Sherman, both of you, for this enlightening conversation, and most of all, of course, our audience for listening in. We hope you enjoy many more sessions at DMEXCO today, and wish you, of course, a great retail season, because that's out there very soon. If there's anything we can do to make that season even greater, of course, you know where to find us. And for now, thank you. Thank you, Marc. Thank you, Alex. And goodbye.